My new record, Carry On, really was based on the idea that I had this song called Carry On it. And it just seemed like it spoke correctly about what I think of as my future, and as opposed to my past in music. It's my 13th record. It's the 20th anniversary of being allowed to make records, so I just liked the title. And then the song "Carry On" I didn't end up putting it on my record, but it did its job. It titled the record, and it's something simple like that. I don't usually like titles that try to describe the music, because it's really hard to do. I mean, there's a lot of different feelings on it on this record and most records I've made. So. Euphoria Morning, I was in a really different headspace. I mean, personally, physically, it was a darker period. The record was really more of a studio record. I did a similar thing in that I went into a home studio alone and wrote songs and demoed them, but they were more kind of sparse demos and simpler arrangements, whereas on Carry On, I did very specific, pretty fleshed out demos. And then making the two records were very different. Euphoria Morning was very much like sitting around and just adding sounds and experimenting with different sounds and using a studio in the way that I'd never been able to use before when I was with a band. But it was recorded at my friend's house, so we really had the freedom to do whatever we wanted. It wasn't costing us money hourly. We could do whatever we wanted. This record is very much more, there's a band in the room playing the basic tracks to the song. Some of the vocal takes are really guide tracks that I just never really sang better than the time I did it with the band. So it's a little more organic. But other than that, there's similarities, I think. Well, this being 20 years of making records and really looking forward to a lot of solo records and touring, I really want to kind of embrace the entire 20 years as much as I can and play songs from 1990 on and all the different bands and incarnations and things and the solo work that I've done. There's nothing I'm really leaving out, I think. I also want to be on tour for a long time, play everywhere that I can play. Playing in Cuba was a kind of a life lesson in that here's 70,000 people that have never seen an American rock band or really any rock band play in this environment of outdoors, and it's much like a European festival, except that they don't have them there. And I just got that feeling of there are people all over the world that know my music, know my songs and different records, and it's a privilege that I have in my career to be able to go to those places and play, and I want to spend the rest of my life doing that. So this is kind of the first step to that. I think after Carry On comes out, I'll hopefully be on the road for a long, long time. Well, doing an old Soundgarden song in the back of my mind might seem like that was really a long time ago, and it really does. And then I've noticed that a couple of times through one of those songs, suddenly it's a memory trigger, and the muscle memory of singing it comes back, but then it comes with a whole bunch of buddies that are other memories, and then it seems suddenly like yesterday that I wrote it, or yesterday it was the last time that we performed it, and it's really amazing how songs can do that. It's not just like in the life of a fan when they hear an old song they reminisce. Like for someone that actually wrote the song and hasn't sang it in a long time, it really is a fast rewind, and I'm getting remembering the essence of the practice room that we wrote the song in, and the first time we played it, and how I used to feel about the way I sang it live. Everything, it all comes back. That's pretty exciting. Well, like Bob Dylan said in an interview, the meanings of words change over time, and it's true. I mean, in culture, if you look at Middle English and then just a couple centuries later, the two are barely even similar. They're trying to come up with signs that tell you not to open this cell of nuclear waste without using a language, because they know, like 500 years from now, whatever language is relevant now isn't going to be relevant then, and so stick figures that say no. But really, I think that for me, the meanings change all the time. I mean, the more I perform a song, I'm sort of having a new experience every time I do it. I read online there was a song that I wrote with Matt Cameron, the drummer of Soundgarden, called Limo Wreck. And the person is saying, like, was Chris Cornell a prophet and he didn't know it, kind of a thing. And I didn't know what they're talking about. And then I read the lyrics, and there's reference to towers falling down and reference to, like, a hurricane and all this crap. And it made me sort of realize that, wow, the people that we follow religiously that are prophets, it was probably just circumstantial like that. It was just a coincidence. And they sort of do the line and went, ooh, wow. But that obviously I had no idea about any of those things in the future. It's just writing a song. And then as events change, those songs find new relevance, which is why a song is sort of a living thing. It's a living, breathing thing that will change long after the author of that song is dead, which is why it's so exciting for me to do.